I love women. I love them. I can't live without them. Let's do this. Looking at my notes, looking over the notes. My notes just literally say talk about women. That's all it says. Talk about women. All right. I'm gonna talk about women for 2 hours. So I'm gonna send it off to the editors. They'll make it work. They'll make it work. They're super swamped. I'm gonna have to find new editors. This last one, they just sent me the finalized copy. There's typos. They said, give us an hour. Like, dude, it's 2 typos, just fix it. I can fix it myself. You know? Whatever. Anyway, women, the whammons. I haven't even done my proper introduction. Am I recording? Thank God. You have no clue how many times I've been recording, I've been shooting, I've been talking for God knows how long, at least 30 minutes at a time. Wasn't recording. Welcome to the Eagle's Edge. I'm your host, of course, the Showgun. One of your last bastions of truth in a world gone soft. And tonight we're diving into the abyss. I so don't want to do this. I'm just going to be pissed off the whole time. Grab whatever. Go ahead and grab your poppy corn. I prefer kettle corn. Kettle corn is superior, okay? I've had it with buttered popcorn. I've had it. It smells like fucking ass, okay? I walk into the theater, it smells good, right? But at home, you ever cook it at home? You walk into a room, your fucking little cousin or nephew's cooking some poppy corn. It smells like ass, bro. Holy shit. No pun intended. Grab your vape, your fucking beer, your disgusting beer. You're disgusting. Whatever. I'm not gonna tell you how to live your life for the most part, but when I do, you better fucking listen. It's the truth. It's probably God's truth, honestly. Maybe. We'll find out when we're dead, okay? Then you can tell me told you so about whatever. Most importantly, grab your Bible, okay? Just always have it. Whatever keeps you sane. For me, it is indeed the Bible. When I get done reading just even a chapter out of the Bible, I'm like, okay, like, yep, I am straight and narrow, like every time. It is Game of Thrones status sometimes. The whole Old Testament, the Jew Testament, kidding. It's all truth, probably, you know? I'm not questioning it. I'm not the one questioning it. I am full of faith. My notes are so long, I'm totally not looking at TikTok videos. We're going on a journey. A long, ugly, hilarious journey through the downfall of America, spearheaded by the so-called fairer sex and their puppet masters. That's right, we're talking about the whammons, their Jewish enablers, and how they've turned the founding stock, white, Christian American men, into a dying breed, alone, childless, forgotten. This ain't gonna be pretty, but it's gonna be real. Let's light this fire. Tippity-top, tippity-top, tippity-top. You don't really know very much. Act 1. The genesis of chaos. Women's rights and the Jewish hand. Nothing's happens. Let's roll the clock back to the 1920s, when the first cracks in the American foundation began to show. Women got the right to vote with the 19th Amendment in 1920. And let me tell you, that wasn't some organic uprising of petticoat-wearing patriots. No. That was a calculated move, funded and pushed by a cabal of Jewish activists who saw an opportunity to destabilize the white Christian order. You think I'm making this up? Let's dig into the dirt. The National Women's Party, founded by Alice Paul in 1916, was the spearhead of the suffrage movement. But who was bankrolling these suffragettes? Enter Anita Pulitzer, a Jewish feminist who was right there in the thick of it, pushing for the Equal Rights Amendment as early as 1923. Pulitzer wasn't just some random agitator. She was connected to the elite, a member of the Women's International League of Peace and Freedom, which was crawling with Jewish influence. The Jewish Women's Archive confirms this. Jewish women like Pulitzer, Lillian Wald, and later Betty Friedan were the backbone of the feminist movement. From suffrage to the 1960s second wave, Wald herself helped found the NAACP, whatever the fuck, and the Women's League for Peace and Freedom. Groups that, let's be real, they were made to dilute white Christian power by elevating every minority under the sun. But let's get specific. The question you should always ask first, who is funding these movements? Follow the money. We'll sip. The Women's Joint, what is it? The Women's Joint Congressional, I think it's congressional. The Women's Joint Congressional Committee, yeah. But yeah, the Women's Joint Congressional Committee, a lobbying group for women's rights in the 1920s, was supported by wealthy Jewish donors like, Louis Brandeis, a Supreme Court justice who was a known Zionist and a member of the American Jewish Committee. All these fucking Jews. Brandeis didn't just sit on the bench. He was funneling money and influence to progressive causes, including women's suffrage, through, of course, his networks of Jewish philanthropists. I had Groff pull me up FEC records, but they're spotty. We got Brandeis' correspondence, supposedly. Correspondence. I'm so tired today, guys. I'm tired every day. But yeah, his correspondence archived from Louisville, it shows he donated thousands to the National Women's Party from like 1920, 1925. It's like 5+ years of just Jewish money to one cause. Wow. I don't think you understand how much effect that has. That's equivalent to hundreds of thousands today. That's right, a Jewish Supreme Court justice was funneling cash, bankrolling feminist movements while white Christian men were still bleeding in the trenches during World War I. This is the shit they got up to while we were gone, while the alpha Chad white men, the best, are out fighting for us. But of course, it doesn't stop there. You can imagine everything else going on during this time. We're gonna fast forward to the 1960s. The second wave of feminism hits like a tidal wave. Nah, something stronger, like a fucking tsunami. That's better. Spot on. Betty Friedan, who gives a fuck? Another Jewish feminist publishes the Feminine Mystique in 1963, basically telling white women that being a wife and a mother is slavery. Friedan wasn't some lone genius. She was backed by the American Jewish Congress, which provided her with speaking platforms and funding for her national organization for the women. Founded in 1966, FEC filings from 1966 to 1970 show now received over $500,000 in donations from Jewish-led foundations like the Open Society Institute, which was already meddling in American politics back then. Friedan's book sold 1.4 million copies by 1970. And suddenly, white women were abandoning their homes, their husbands, and their kids to chase careers in typing pools and HR departments. The birth rate for Americans dropped from 3.5 children per woman in 1960 to 1.8 by 1980. Coincidence? I think not. You see, the Jews knew what they were doing. The Jews knew. 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 No, the Jews knew. Don't use that. Do not use that. Whatever you do not use that. The Jews knew what they were doing. They weaponized women to break the white family unit. If you get women out of the home and into the workforce, you kill the birth rate. You kill the bloodline. Voice crack. You kill the bloodline and you kill the culture. And who benefits? The same people who have been trying to replace us for centuries. The Talmudic overlords who want a world full of fruitless, rootless, childless consumers, not strong Christian families. It's no accident that Gloria Steinem, another Jewish feminist, was pushing abortion rights in the 1970s in Miss Magazine, which was funded by the Rockefeller Foundation, another Jewish connected outfit, if you didn't already know. The Rockefellers were connected to the Jewish American Committee through their philanthropy, donating millions to progressive causes, including $2 million to Planned Parenthood between 1970 and 1980. Roe versus Wade in 1973, that was the nail in the coffin. White women started aborting their babies at a rate of 400,000 by 1980. Meanwhile, white men were left alone, drinking themselves to death in trailer parks, with no kids to carry on their name. Act 2. Women in the workforce. The subhuman child adults. Now let's talk about women in the workforce, because this is where the rubber meets the road. Or should I say where the stiletto meets the cubicle. No, that's it. That was corny, dude. Garbage Human provides us with the usual thought-provoking comic relief as seen in this X post. Ghibli, lol, lol, lol. Snapshots of 3 broads ghiblied out. Caption beneath the stupid cartoon cunts it reads, "Finally get a job? Woman to man ratio is at least 10 to 1. This economy isn't real." Jewish daycare to make sure women don't have children. Women in corporate America are a joke. Females in these pointless jobs. And what do they actually do? Practically nothing. They're just children with no accountability, playing dress up in their Ann Taylor blouses, while white men are out there dying in mines or getting blown up in some war. Let's break down the stereotypes, because they're stereotypes for a reason. They're true. They're true. They're true. Women are emotional, irrational, and obsessed with drama. Back in the day, we just call them hysterical, and doctors would prescribe them laudanum or something to calm their nerves. Now, they're on SSRIs and TikTok, crying about microaggressions while they sip on their oat milk lattes or pumpkin spice. A 2023 study from the American Psychological Association found that 62% of women in corporate jobs report burnout from their 9 to 5s, compared to just 38% of men. Why? Because they can't handle the fucking pressure. They're not built for it. I'll tell you what they are built for, something men aren't built for. Raising kids, not to lead companies, but thanks to Jewish-funded feminism, they're clogging up the workforce, taking jobs from white men that actually need them to feed their families. And let's talk about their genius, or lack thereof. Name one female Einstein, one female Tesla, one female Newton. You can't, because there isn't one. Women have been in the workforce en masse since the 1970s. Is it en masse? No fucking way. I've been saying en masse my entire life. Okay. And what have they invented? The Spanx? Again, throwback pumpkin spice latte? No. Meanwhile, men gave the world electricity, the internet, the moon landing, rockets, literally everything. The fucking wheel. There's no argument. There's no debate. The Bureau of Labor Statistics said that women make up 41% of the workforce in 2021, correction. But there's still only 12% of the engineers and 8% of tech CEOs. Why? Because they're not wired for it. They're wired for nurturing, not innovating. But the Jewish overlords don't want you to know that. They want you to think women are equal, so they can keep pushing this diversity scam that leaves white men out in the cold. Don't get me started on their lack of accountability. Lack of accountability. Women are just overgrown children. I'm convinced. I am beyond convinced. And we, society, we let them get away with it. They cheat on their husbands. And if they're not cheating, you know, they got several dudes on the back burner just ready to go. They abandon their kids and they cry patriarchy when they get called out. Look at the replies in Garbage Humans post. I said, look at the replies. Need a sip. You look away. Based Meme Pope says, I can't stand it. They all think they have great ideas. Fuck, I hate it. And they all just want to drink and cheat on their husbands. That aspect's good for me, bad for society. As degenerate as you are, Based Meme Pope, I get it. You're right. Women in the workforce are a liability, to say the least. From the National Bureau of Economic Research found that women are 30% more likely to file HR complaints than men, usually over petty nonsense like, he didn't smile at me in the meeting. Meanwhile, white men are getting laid off at record rates. 1.2 million manufacturing jobs lost between 2000 and 2020. While women are taking cushy DEI jobs that didn't even exist 20 years ago. And the new age examples, they're everywhere. Just open your eyes. Women are on OnlyFans, selling their bodies while claiming empowerment. They're on Instagram, posting thirst traps. Get it together. Fucking thirst traps while their kids starve for attention and need to read to them. That's why your boy Showgun here tested a college level reading in 2nd grade. My mother read to me nightly, and she'd make me read fucking thick books to her. They're in boardrooms demanding safe spaces, while white men are dying of opioid overdoses at the rate of 70,000 per year. And I blame that on loneliness, not having a fucking woman, dude. We used to have purpose. Our purpose was family, okay? Our purpose was the continuance of ourselves. 70,000. Women have no accountability because the system built by Jewish feminists like Steinem and Friedan lets them off the hook. They are subhuman in their inability to take responsibility, and it's killing us. Act 3. Man, that's 6. Act 3. The Jewish multiplication of the enemies and the death of the founding stock. Now let's connect the dots, because this isn't just about women. It's also about the Jewish masterminds who have multiplied our enemies and destroyed the founding stock. The white Christian men who built this country are dying out, and it's by design. Let's look at a timeline. In 1965, the Hart-Celler Act opened the floodgates to immigration. And guess who was behind it? Emanuel Celler, a Jewish congressman from New York. New York, who co-sponsored the bill with Senator Philip Hart. Celler was a member of the American Jewish Congress, and he explicitly stated in a 1965 speech that the bill was meant to diversify America. More like destroy. The white population dropped from 88% in 1960 to 61% in 2020, while non-white immigration skyrocketed. Seller's bill brought in 60 million immigrants by 2020, and I truly believe you can double that. You can double that number. We're looking at least 120 million people that should not be here. It's incredible. Most of these people are from non-European countries. Do you realize that? That means not white. And again, who did this hurt the most? White men. White men who watched their wages stagnate, while women and minorities were propped up by affirmative action. Then you've got the cultural destruction. Ooh, fun. Hollywood, run by Jewish moguls like Harvey Weinstein and Bob Iger, has been pumping out anti-white propaganda for decades. Weinstein, before his fall, produced over 300 films through Miramax and the Weinstein Company, many of which, like The Crying Game and Pulp Fiction, pushed degeneracy, interracial relationships, and the emasculation of white men. Iger, as Disney's CEO, turned Star Wars, into a feminist fever dream with Rey and Mary Sue, who makes Luke Skywalker look like a chump. Are you kidding me? The result? White boys growing up ashamed of their heritage, while white girls are taught to hate their own men and chase diversity in their dating lives. A 2023 Pew Research study found that 38% of white women under 30 have dated outside their race, compared to 22% of white men. That's not a choice. That's brainwashing. And let's not forget the economic sabotage. Jewish financiers like George Soros have funded every anti-white cause under the sun. FEC records show Soros's Open Society Foundation donated $150 million to progressive groups from 2010 to 2020 alone, including $20 million to the Women's March in 2017, which was led by Linda Sarsour, I don't know, a Muslim activist who hates white men more than I hate Brussels sprouts. And that's saying something. I missed 2 Halloweens because of Brussels sprouts, okay? I'm not gonna go into it right now. That's a story for another day. That march drew 4 million women, many of them white women, to protest patriarchy while their husbands are out working 60-hour weeks, 80-hour weeks just to pay the bills. Soros also bankrolled Black Lives Matter to the tune of $33 million in 2015 alone, which led to the 2020 riots that burned down white-owned businesses while women cheered on the fucking sidelines. The result of all of this? White men are alone, dying, childless. The fertility rate? for white Americans is 1.6 as of 2023, below replacement level. Meanwhile, women are too busy with their Zoom meetings and their Tinder dates to have kids. A 2022 BLS report says that women are 60% of HR managers, 70% of social workers, and 80% of elementary school. Jobs that let them play as mommy to the world while neglecting their own duty. White men, on the other hand, are killing themselves at a rate of $45,000 a year because they've got no purpose, no legacy, and no hope. And the Jews, laughing all the way to the bank. The ADL, led by Jonathan Jew Greenblatt, has pushed diversity training in every major corporation, costing white men their jobs while women and minorities get promoted. Greenblatt's ADL took in $90+ million in donations in 2022 alone. Much of that's from Jewish donors like Mark Zuckerberg, who gave $10 million that year. $10 million! That money goes to silencing white voices, while women are turned into foot soldiers for the anti-white agenda. Part 4, last part. Act 4, the foreshadowing. White genocide and the return to Christian nationalism. Women, the whammons, with their Jewish enablers, have left white men alone and dying, with no children to keep our bloodline going. The founding stock, those brave white Christian men who built this nation, are on the brink of extinction. And it's all by design. If you haven't seen any of my other videos, I've told you every time it's by design. But I'm not just here to complain. I'm here to fight, vocally, because I'm here and you're there. And the problem, outside, away from me. One last little sippy sip. One of these episodes, I want to come back to you guys with a plan. But first, we're going to have to talk about white genocide in detail, because there's most of you that don't know these things. These basic things, these rudimentary, fundamental things. How the Jews and their feminist puppets are replacing us with mass immigration, interracial propaganda, more interracial propaganda. Okay, that's enough. That's enough! And cultural decay. We'll dig into the stats, the names, the dates, and the policies that are wiping us out. And then we're going to talk about the solution. A return to Christian morality. A dictator-level nationalism that'll make Trump look like a choir boy. To get to a moral nation, first, we must set aside our indifference to violence and mob-like criminality. We're talking Old Testament justice. A cleansing fire that'll burn away the rot to bring back the America that our forefathers died for. I mean, they weren't saints themselves. My man's Georgie was quite scandalous in his youth. But that's what it takes. Brutal, godlike wrath. So tune in, because the Eagle's Edge is just getting started. Yeah. I love whammons. I love those broads. You know who I love more? Christ. And I pray that he blesses each and every one of you. Each and every one of you. I'm your host, the Showgun. The show has been brought to you by Founding America, returning America to its once former glory. That's right. This is where I say goodbye right before you hear that bald eagle cry. Love you guys, for real though. For reals. For reals. I love you guys, for reals. It's a Christ-like love. Where's my mouse? Where's my mouse? Where's my mouse? Where's my mouse?
We'll just get rid of all the whites in the United States because